T-Mobile becomes San Francisco's latest retail casualty as phone carrier shutters its flagship store in San Francisco. Hey, at least it's not Nordstrom, right? That was last week. Hey, it's not Whole Foods. That was the week before. Hey, I mean, it's not Abercrombie, right? That was the week before that. What's it going to be this week? Well, T-Mobile. No can do. Don't want that 2-story office complex in this location. It's scary around here. You can get killed. You get mugged. Somebody will sell you drugs. Somebody will poop on the sidewalk and you'll step in it. That's what you got going on, right? I mean, this is just that epidemic. This is the ongoing, like the title says, the casualty that is San Francisco's Union Square neighborhood, a little tiny, shopping neighborhood that's been famous for years. And now all of a sudden, it's famous, but not for the right reasons. Let's get into it. Let's see what we got going on with T-Mobile, San Francisco, Union Square neighborhood. Let's get into it. Here we go. T-Mobile joined a growing list of companies that have moved out of San Francisco's downtown area in recent months, and we've been covering just about every single one. Saks off Fifth Avenue, kind of their discount Saks store. It's their discount store off Fifth Avenue. It's not the main one, but it's part of Saks for sure. It's shutting down. It's going to leave the real Saks, but the Saks off Fifth Avenue, the discount brand, not so much. Yeah, you guys got to go. Yeah. Store performance, so often they'll blame it on foot traffic. Well, we don't have enough foot traffic to this store. That's a nice way of saying, well, it's in a really bad area that has some really bad influences in it, and you can't really run a business there. Now, this is interesting because this is their flagship location for San Francisco. And this is another business that isn't necessarily retail, the whole thing. And I don't even know if they sell stores at this location, whether they do or not. It's not like a clothing store. It's not retail like that, right? But it's yet another store that is suffering from the influences that are San Francisco right now. You got the drug dealing, you got the stealing, you've got just, fentanyl overdoses are happening. You've got homelessness everywhere. Just all of these things that make, not being in Union Square neighborhood desirable. Where are you going to be? Anywhere but Union Square neighborhood. T-Mobile's 2-story flagship location in San Francisco's Union Square neighborhood was permanently shuttered with a note now directing customers to instead visit 2 other locations in the city, according to San Francisco Business Times. Go over there, not this one. In fact, run, because you don't want to be at this location. We're not. That's why we're posting a little note for you, on the dealio. And look forward. We enjoyed serving you over the past XYZ years. Join us at other locations and T-Mobile.com. Come visit us there, but just not at this store. The building broke price records for the area back when it was sold in 2013 at $50 million, according to the outlet. But now the building joins other properties sitting vacant in the city. The 17,000 square foot office space was previously occupied for decades by an Apple flagship location until it moved to a larger location in 2016. Boy, they dodged the bullet there, didn't they? We got out of Dodge then. They just moved, right? I mean, Apple, San Francisco, those kind of go hand in hand. T-Mobile told Fox News Digital when asked about the closure that the company recently reshaped our nationwide retail strategy to better take care of customers, meaning we don't want them to get killed. Huh. Weird. Hey, customers get killed at your stores, they ain't coming back. They're not going to be repeat customers, right? Now, I'm making that part up, but then I'm kind of not, because that is literally what is repelling people from this area. It's not a good area to do business in. And that's why I keep covering so many of these topics. Yeah. And here we covered this a week or two ago. Elon Musk says San Francisco feels post-apocalyptic as crime shutters stores. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, this is what you've created. This is what you voted in. This is what you wanted. Decriminalize everything. Let the crime just go. Oh, we didn't really work through that whole businesses aren't going to stay in a location like this, or businesses aren't profitable, or businesses recognize XYZ% of their business is going to loss prevention. Security can't hire enough security to make the street safe. Don't have enough cops to run around when some does get broken into. All of this, just some genius policy from the far left. That's what we're looking at. Now, not to say that we didn't have this in other cities as well, but the cities that I cover, like Portland and San Francisco, have just become the ultimate poster child for this, degradation of America, right? These are North American cities. San Francisco being a big, these shopping areas, these should just be going hard. It's San Francisco. People should be shopping there. It should be safe. It could be safe, but you've allowed it through policy to become what it is. And now you're dealing with it. And now you've got the feds in San Francisco, with National Guard. You got 14 National Guard members. And they're going to do some intel on putting the bad guys away. Is anything really going to change? You're going to have to do some massive cleanup. And I don't think San Francisco has the political will to make the changes they need to. They're going to be in this for a while. You're going to see a bunch more stores, close, and I'll podcast every single damn one of them, right? So this includes plans we've made in this area and a few others to move away from the signature store format in some cities to instead serve customers through a nearby experience store, the T-Mobile representative add. Look over there, don't look here. Look over there, don't look here. We're working on this. And plus, we reimagined and we rethought things, and this is what we came up with. Plus, it's really dangerous, right? The company recently announced experience stores that can handle many customer issues and feature the latest T-Mobile devices while offering a more laid-back environment compared to traditional brick-and-mortar locations. Plus, it was dangerous. That's what we're getting to, right? That's all we're getting. A T-Mobile employee at a different location in the city told SF Gate that the closure occurred about a month ago, adding that the staff would probably get transferred to other stores. We're willing to help you. We're firing you from this store because, we're closing the whole bad boy down. But we want you to know that you have a job offer at a store 200 miles away from your hometown. Now, come work for us there. I make $10 an hour and you want me to relocate? I don't think so. This notches the third storefront in a row in Union Square that sits unoccupied, joining a 19,000 square foot building on Stockton Street that previously had a storefront for Armani Exchange and a 10,387 square foot space that was previously home to a Disney store location, according to the San Francisco Business Times. They are literally working their way out of one business after another. I mean, yeah, and here's San Francisco Whole Foods hit with 568 calls of violence, drugs, vagrants before closing. That's why T-Mobile wants to leave. You know what I mean? I mean, why would you operate this store? And that's the answer. The answer has been, well, we don't want to. That's why we're leaving. Time and time and time again. I've been watching a bunch of Megyn Kelly because I find her interesting. I find her a little aggressive, a little hardcore, but that's why I enjoy watching her. Plus, she's a pretty lady. It's not hard to watch. And then some of the stuff that she comes up with, you're just like, huh, she said that. Interesting. She just dropped like the F-bomb. Huh, weird. Yeah, that's kind of cool. All right, let's see what else she has to say. But no, I think she has a great show. I enjoy watching that. Plus, we're also kind of trying to figure out what's going on with the whole Tucker Carlson thing, right? He's not fired. He's on the payroll at Fox for $30 million a year, and they basically just want to silence him. They've just sidelined him. Now we took your show down. We're going to have a bunch of other Brian Kilmeade or whomever, substitute for a little while till they work out their Mexican standoff, which is not racist. It's just a standoff that happens where you're just like, you know what I mean? They're at this standoff. They're having this standoff. So I've kind of been researching Megyn Kelly because she basically left Fox as well. And so did Bill O'Reilly. And so I've been kind of watching their numbers. Okay, these are the numbers because Tucker Carlson, he drove so much traffic into Fox. It was insane. And then that's the 8 o'clock slot, right? And then if you don't have the 8 o'clock slot, if you don't have that covered, then the 9 and the 10, and I think it's the 11, those are no-go as well. You're not going to have people tuning in. So that is literally what's happened is Fox's numbers, MSNBC, I think, beat Fox maybe a night or two ago. And you're like, okay, yeah, how's that working out? Heads will roll at Fox for this if this continues long-term. So they're going to have to figure something out. But Megyn Kelly, yeah, a lot of these topics, they're topics that don't have a definitive, this happened, this is the result. Because it's more of, well, policy is changing and this might happen and that might happen. We think this is going on. This is the end result of the open border or whatever it is. This is what's the end result of this policy. With what I cover from my background in real estate, I'm covering this is what you did to the city. And now the businesses are closing up. It's point A to point B, and there's a direct line between it. So that's a lot of what I try and cover because there's no wiggle room there. You can't tell me. They were doing road construction for a long time out in front of T-Mobile, and that's why they had to move the store. T-Mobile's headquarters are like 3 miles away from me, maybe 4 here in Bellevue. They're in South Bellevue. T-Mobile, that's their worldwide headquarters. So, and that's another one of those tech companies that's here in the Pacific Northwest that a lot of people don't talk about. If you go by on 405 at the I-90 interchange, I-90 goes from east of the mountains all the way into downtown Seattle and drops you off at basically T-Mobile Park, right? Downtown. And if you drive by on 405 through Bellevue, you will see on the eastern side of 405, stepped into the hillside, you will see a whole bunch of like pink lit up buildings. And that's T-Mobile. That's their headquarters. They've got a massive presence here in the Pacific Northwest. So you got T-Mobile and you got all these other companies here in Bellevue. You got Amazon shifting over 2,000 workers right now to Seattle, from Seattle to Bellevue. Because the Seattle locations, they're not wanting to put their employees back in harm's way because of this exact stuff. So there's a Macy's building in downtown Seattle. It is, I think it's on 3rd or 4th. And it basically overlooks the Blade where you've got basically a tiny version of the Tenderloin going on in for Seattle. It's where the open air drug markets and people have been killed there and shot and, murdered and hit with the head with a piece of rebar, all that good stuff. It just kind of comes. That's where you'll see a lot of Jonathan Cho's footage from. But, with this stuff going on, all right, so your policy was here to be soft on crime. Your policy was to be soft on shoplifting. And so now all these stores are being broken into or this public safety is impacted. You got a bunch of homeless people. All right, your policy on homeless people impacted your downtown business core's ability to operate. You've got all those stories. And ultimately what happens is, boom, businesses leave. That to me is a hard line in the sand where you can go, okay, you can talk all policy all day you want, but when you're talking about direct impacts, businesses leaving, closing up shop, going to the burbs, it's not hard to figure out. It's cause and effect. There's no wiggle room. There's no, this might have happened. Well, there was a poll today that, Biden has got the lowest presidential rating of any president in history. Let's talk about it. It's not a poll. These data points that I talk about are hardcore facts. It's like when a home sells. Leading up to that period where the home closes, you've got data points, but they're not facts. You've got an active listing price, you've got a pending price, and then it goes into boom, closed. That is your historic fact because this other stuff that could change. Yeah, well, we're going to reduce the price. We're going to increase the price. Pending sale. Okay. Pending sale flips. No longer a piece of data. Yeah, that one went sideways. Those things are happening all day long in real estate. But when it closes, it gets recorded. Recorder's office. They, punch a stamp on it and you got your excise tax and that gets recorded. Matter of public record then, right? Businesses closing, T-Mobile closing. That is your point in time. That is your data point. And we're having so many of these in these areas. I've covered downtown Portland as well. Same thing, right? Same damn thing. So if you're wondering why we keep doing this, that's why. Because here's your sign, right? It's just like, what is going on? So we had nearby another storefront sits empty on Ellis Street after the furniture company CB2 moved out of the location in January. So you got the retail apocalypse on top of this. So some of the stores that have left this area in San Francisco left because their business model didn't work. T-Mobile's business model, it works. It works. It's still going hard. And you got a bunch of other businesses that are, basically the same way. Nordstrom still going. They're still selling clothes, right? Just not in this location in San Francisco. And their Nordstrom Rack, which is, I enjoy shopping at Nordstrom Rack as well. You get great stuff, a little bit cheaper, maybe a little bit less quality. It's supposed to be the same. I never figured that it is. I figure it's Nordstrom Rack. It's got to be a little bit different. So, those models still work. People still buy Nordstrom clothes, just not here because it's not safe. Because through policy, through laws, through elected officials, here's your sign. That's why people are leaving. So Union Square is one of San Francisco's premier shopping neighborhoods and is located in the city's downtown area. Other stores downtown have also announced plans to close this year, including Saks Off 5th on Market Street, which will close in the fall. Well, Nordstrom announced this month that will shutter 2 locations downtown this summer. Nordstrom told San Francisco Gate of the closures that the dynamics of the downtown San Francisco markets have changed dramatically over the past several years, impacting customer foot traffic to our stores and our ability to operate successfully. I think that is one of the better statements. Smooth, right? Nordstrom's old school money. They've been around for a long time. The Nordstrom family, they all live not far from my office here. The original founders and multiple generations. Some of their kids went to school with my kids, but the dynamics, just business. What's going on? The dynamics of the downtown San Francisco market have changed dramatically. How did they change? What happened? Well, we all know what happened. San Francisco went sideways. Downtown Portland went sideways, right? Got overrun with drugs and homelessness and just basic chaos. And it's not a place for businesses to run businesses. So the market has changed dramatically over the past several years, impacting customer foot traffic. Nobody wants to go there. Well, what happened to the foot traffic? How did it get impacted? What happened? Nobody wants to go there. That's what they should have been saying, but they got to be smooth because they got to have it in a press conference release and people go, oh, okay. This isn't due to crime. This is due to lack of foot traffic. I knew it. I knew our area wasn't that bad. Okay. Well, blame it on the lack of foot traffic. And you're like, those are the same thing. Lack of foot traffic just means people don't want to go to the store because they, might get killed. Or it's dangerous. Or they don't want to dodge the human fecal matter in the sidewalk, or they don't like the tents, or they don't like the influence from all the drug peddlers and drug users, people slumped over in the area. They don't like that. When they're going to get their phone worked on, they don't like that. I don't know if you knew that, but most people don't like that. So impacting customer foot traffic to our stores and our ability to operate successfully. I mean, that's a smooth statement right there. I give a solid A for that statement. It covers everything without saying anything. It's corporate business double talk, right? That's a good statement though, because the rest of us, and that's why podcasts like mine exist, because I kind of cut through the nonsense and go, all right, here's what happened. Here's what they're talking about. And everybody kind of knows it, But if you read this and you didn't have the history behind San Francisco, you wouldn't think there's any issues with shoplifting or dash and grab or drugs or homelessness or people addicted to drugs or fentanyl overdoses or, garbage everywhere, people being accosted, people being assaulted, drug dealers running open air drug markets, open air selling of stolen goods. That didn't really make it in any of those points of that sentence, did they? No. But that all has to do with it. That is why these stores are closing down. So that's where I come in. I tell you straight up. Well, yeah. How many other podcasts have we done on this damn same topic? Same deal. And you know what? We're going to keep doing them. Podcast after podcast after podcast, because this is the evidence that these types of policies just don't work. They have gone wildly sideways. You need a massive change up. But, I don't think the people of San Francisco have the political will to make the changes that they need to, because you're going to have to bring in somebody a little bit more moderate. You have to bring in folks that operate on a law and order concept. And, just recently we were defunding the police. San Fran was, Seattle was, Portland was, LA was, Minneapolis was. Tons of big cities. Defund the police. Greatest concept ever. Oh, crime is going through the roof. Yeah. Is there a correlation there? Man, I don't know if we can correlate the two. And then people say in San Francisco, yeah, but violent crime isn't that high. Well, your murder rate might not be, but all of your other criminal activities are through the roof. It's just nobody's reporting them. They're just not reporting them, because why should they? Nothing's going to happen. It's just a waste of their time. They've rinsed and repeated that whole thing a bunch of times. And after your store gets broken into like the 10th or the 11th time, after the first couple of times, people just basically give up and they figure, okay, we can handle this. We can make a go of this. We can figure it out. We need this location for our store. We're going to go down this road of survivor mode. We're not going to leave. So they don't go through, insurance. They're not making insurance claims. They're not calling the cops. They're just hunkered down. But at some point in time, a big company like T-Mobile, like Nordstrom, Anthropology, somebody in corporate goes, okay, how many break-ins did you have? And how many employees got assaulted? And what kind of deal, overdose in the restroom at Whole Foods? Oh, had to take a guy out with a sheet over him. Covering, as they do, in a dead body out of the restroom at Whole Foods because somebody OD'd in there. There's only so many of those types of incidences before corporate has to reimagine and rethink their, lease at these locations. And Whole Foods bounced out after 13 months. That's quick. That's wild. That's your ultimate. Here's your sign. These policies did not work out, are not working out. Well, let's just keep doing them the same way we've always done them, though. Let's be progressive here. That's really, we got to let people do their own thing, right? And here we are. But it doesn't work with business structure. Businesses don't stick around. They just, they can't make a go of it. So San Francisco has been the site of repeated smash and grab robberies in recent years. While a few stores have closed since the pandemic when foot traffic cratered during lockdowns, shoplifting issues have plagued many stores across the city, with the police force staking out retail locations late last year to help curb the crimes. That was during the Christmas holiday season. Remember the year before that? I mean, it was fair game. If you were a criminal, robbing whatever store it was just a phenomenon that happened, right? I mean, that was game on. That was full tilt. I think, was that the winter of December of 2020? I think it was the winter of 2021 when we saw all of that happen. People literally running into not a Neiman Marcus, but a Gucci store or, something along those lines, and just, bashing display cases, grabbing stuff and running out. I mean, we had a whole bunch of that, right? And just recently here in Bellevue, we had an armed robbery by 5 kids at about 3:00 in the morning, Well, this isn't Seattle. This isn't San Francisco. Our police department, we didn't defund, and they caught these kids. They're all teenagers, and they're in jail right now. So if you want to come to Bellevue and do an armed robbery, I'd say, beware, you may end up doing some time. But in Seattle and San Fran, the odds are you're not going to get caught unless you do it a bunch of times and you steal enough really expensive stuff. Because in San Francisco, in California, if you steal stuff under $950, you're golden. Misdemeanor. Used to be felony, no longer. 950 and under, you're golden. You get not even get a speeding ticket because that impacts your insurance, right? You get a misdemeanor and it's like a parking ticket. Yeah, it's not good. It's going to cost you a little bit of money, but it's not really going to go on your record. And there's going to be no real consequences. So if you got an addiction problem, or if this is your lifestyle, and that's a lot of what these cities have entered into, a lifestyle of drug addicts running around that have been created by multiple mayors and district attorneys and everybody else in the ecosystem that is public safety in these big liberal cities. This is what you get. This is kind of the output. This is the end result. Businesses leaving the downtown core. And on top of that, one of the other things that I'm going to be podcasting on, there's a building, I can't remember the address, wish I could. I used to be able to recall addresses like there's no tomorrow because that was just such a part of my job as an appraiser. There's a building, the first major, I think is it 22 stories? First major kind of mini skyscraper sold. And it originally was valued in 2019 for $300 million. And they had it on the market in 2021. I'm totally going off memory here, for $180 million. No go. Now it is selling, and it apparently is under contract. And I don't know if it's closed, but it's hard pending or closed, somewhere between 60 and 67.5 million. Massive drop in value because 75% of the store is 75% of the building is occupied, and it needs 50-60 million in renovation to compete with top-notch office space. And so if you don't have, top-notch office space physically, you either need to do a renovation or you're going to have to drop your price so significantly. And that's what's taking that number from an estimated value of 300 million all the way down to 60, which is basically an 80% drop. In reality, when it closes at 67.5, I think that's right where it's going to be. It's about a 75% drop in value. That's insane. And you can't tell me that's not going to just happen all over San Francisco, because you've got the whole tech thing with employees working remotely. And so, we're in the hardcore press right now to send people back into the office. But even then, it's only going to be like 3 days a week. So you've got all this office space that you don't need. You certainly don't need for 5 days a week. You can consolidate a lot of this space. So that is happening on top of all this other, physical location stuff that Seattle has, Portland has, San Francisco has, on top of, retail apocalypse, on top of office vacancy shooting through the roof, no end in sight. You've got some You've got some perfect storm happening right now, on top of some bank failures that support the commercial real estate system in a San Francisco, Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic. I mean, those are some big banks lending wise that are no longer with us, no longer able to provide support to these communities. You've got some wild, wild stuff going on, and T-Mobile leaving. That's just kind of one tiny little drop in the bucket, but it all adds up. And that's what we're covering here on News for Reasonable People. So thank you for being along for the ride. It's what we're doing. Thanks again. Love to have you as a subscriber. If you haven't already, hit that notification bell. If you're into Discord, check out our Reasonable Plus Discord channel. We got a lot of stuff going on there. You want to send me a message? That's where you do it. If you want to send me an email, that's also in the description. But check that out. Thanks again for being here. We'll catch up soon. Bye for now.